The one thing I knew when I was growing up in my Italian Catholic family was that I had one job, and the job was to be a good girl. And to my parents, that meant I did whatever they told me to do, and I got good grades in school. By the time I got to high school, it was a little extended a little bit more, and it included preparing to get married and have children, and that it better be in that order. So by the time I was 22, everybody was getting married. I hung out with a lot of good girls, and I was right there on track. I'd been teaching in a Catholic school, which was brownie points, and I was engaged. But then I got sidetracked because something happened with my fiance, and I realized that things weren't going to work out very well, so I broke the engagement. But you know, it's not that I wanted to, because I was on the marriage track. Do you know what I mean, the marriage track? We'd bought silverware. We were ready to pick out our pots and pans. I'd registered my china, and I wanted that china. So even though I broke the engagement, I was devastated. So I did what a lot of us do when we get like that. I went into the valley. And when I came, you know the valley? When I came out, all that good girl stuff was gone. I saw things with a new light. I started to look at my girlfriends, all of whom were mothers by then, because did you know that you get brownie points if you get pregnant really fast after you get married? Double brownie points if you get pregnant on your honeymoon? They were really high rollers. And I looked around and I listened to them and I thought to myself, I don't think marriage is such a good deal for a woman. Yeah, and I tossed that idea around for a pretty long time, you know, and then I was down the rabbit hole. I devised a new plan for my life. It was not parent approved. And I decided that I was going to move out of my parents' house. And for those of you who know that some of the Italians are like this, that the only respectable way that you move out of your parents' house is in a wedding dress or a nun's habit or a coffin. If you're not in one of those, then obviously you're out ready to be a putan. For those of you who don't know, slut. And that's how everybody treated my move. But I did. I moved out, and I spent the next couple years figuring myself out, figuring my life out. I did what we now call empowered myself. I got independent. I took care of myself. Everything. I was a happily unmarried woman. I bought a house. And then I met Joseph. And we got along really well. So well, in fact, that he asked me to marry him. And I was like, seriously? Well, what I said was, I think we should buy a house. Because in my mind, buying a house meant something was easy to get into. It was 30 years. And you remember when 30 years was a lifetime. And if it didn't work out, we could get out of it really easy. So it was fine with Joseph. I thought, oh, good. I made a good swap. This is good. We're good. And we bought a house. About 7 months later, Joseph's birthday was coming up. We went out for a walk after dinner, and I said, Joseph, your birthday's coming up. What do you want for your birthday? I was stunned by his answer. I want to get married. And all I could think was, snookered. What is he thinking? It's going great. What I said was, how about a watch? I'll get you a really nice watch. He was relentless, though. I want to get married. And I said, I have to think about this. This wasn't part of my plan. Let me just think about it. And so for a couple weeks, I thought about it. I wrote about it. I prayed. I took long walks. And finally, the goddess of creativity came up with the answer. So I said to Joseph that night at dinner, I said, I can do this. I can get married to you. I can't get married to you till I'm dead, but I can get married to you for 5 years. And if we still like each other, we'll get married for another 5 years. Now, for whatever reason, Joseph agreed to that. We talked about it, and he agreed to it. Although you can see I'm quite a catch. And that's how we did our first marriage. And everything was kind of normal. It's like it was a normal 5-year marriage. In our second marriage, however, we hit a wall. And some of you might know what I mean. It was about year 6, 7. We hit a wall. We got to a place where we couldn't figure it out. And I said, you know what, Joseph, if we can't figure this out by ourselves, we need to get help. And if we don't get help, then there's no point for us to get married again. So we sought counseling. And it was a good experience. We both learned a lot. So we decided to get married again. And again and again and again. So I realized that the 5-year marriage isn't like your typical good girl thing. I sort of went against the grain. But you know what? The more I think about it, and I've been doing 5-year marriages for 28 years now. Somebody who teaches a pre-K course said, maybe I can talk you into the next marriage, making it for 30 years. And I got hysterical laughing. And she said, you're laughing, but I'm serious. I said, I know, that's why I'm laughing. You're on your second marriage. I'm not. Which one of us works better? So I don't know about you, but I like the idea of the 5-year marriage. I think it's the wave of the future. What do you think?